Alright, so welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, guys, we're going to be discussing about Argentina winning the World Cup. So, like I said, guys, I am an Argentina fan, just not as passionate as most people are from Bangladesh. And like I said, guys, basically, this jersey was bought by one of my relatives, and they decided to purchase a jersey for me, and I couldn't say no for an answer. So, of course, as you guys know, I'm an Argentina fan, and it's good to see that Argentina finally won the World Cup for quite some time. So we're going to discuss about it. I find it would be nice if I wore this jersey to represent the occasion, and what better way to not represent, right? So we're going to go through a lot in this video. We're going to discuss the final itself. We'll discuss about what this means for both Messi and Mbappe in particular, what they are going to reflect from this. And then we're also going to discuss how this Argentine team compares to the previous World Cup winners from the 21st century. So if you're new around here, consider hitting that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. We're getting very close to reaching 4,000 watch K hours right now. At the time of recording, we're at 3.7K. So I could really do appreciate if you could stay to the very end of the video. That would mean a lot for me. And of course, hitting that subscribe and hitting the bell button obviously helps as well. So really does mean a lot for me for the support. So let's go ahead and start with the very first topic is Messi. Messi. He is the GOAT. With this, he solidified his GOAT status. And this is why I said when people ask me is, how do you consider who's a GOAT? For me, in order to be a GOAT, you have to first win the World Cup. You have to win it. There's no exceptions, no ifs, no maybes, no buts. That's just how I roll. Okay? And you got to win Champions League too. Okay? So there's a lot of players. If you haven't won a Champions League and a World Cup, you're not in consideration. So as much as I want to put R9 in this conversation, he cannot be in this conversation because he's not won a Champions League. He's not won a Champions League. I'll put him in all-time great for Brazil. But he cannot be a GOAT for me just because he's not consistent, right? And what Messi's been doing has been incredible, and it's crazy to see what he's been doing. And, he's finally having the World Cup to his title is very amazing. And he can finally be in the pedestal. And he is definitely clear of Cristiano Ronaldo. He's definitely clear of Cristiano Ronaldo, no doubt whatsoever. Obviously, I'm not trying to start a debate here whatsoever, but I just want to make things clear that he is clear of him 100% with this World Cup. But let's not make the video about him. Let's focus on things elsewhere. Messi for this World Cup has been phenomenal. He has scored 7 goals and he's got 3 assists. That is incredible. The insane contribution he's had to Argentina winning this World Cup is phenomenal. He has been instrumental for Argentina to win this World Cup. Argentina do not go this far without him. He is vital to this team. And this World Cup has easily surpassed 2014. 2014 World Cup doesn't even look this good compared to this one. The fact that he scored in every single game of the World Cup, barring the game against Poland, which let's not forget, he was still good in that game, has been phenomenal. And as also, another thing to note is that he's been phenomenal. Not just in terms of scoring goals, he's also been incredible in terms of playmaking, in terms of dribbling, in terms of recoveries, in terms of through balls. He's been amazing. He has been sensational. And he really came alive in the knockout stage in particular, especially against Netherlands and Croatia in particular. He was phenomenal in this World Cup and 100% deserved the best player of the tournament. No doubt whatsoever. See, in 2014, it wasn't as concise. But it wasn't as clear. But this one is definitely clear without a doubt. And he was also 1 goal away from hitting the Golden Boot, which is also incredible. And keep in mind, this is Messi at 35. This isn't even prime Messi. Prime Messi didn't even do this. And the fact that Messi did this at his 35 years old, toward his twilight years, end of his career, is pretty insane. And like I said, he's pretty much completed football. He's won everything there is in football. Champions League, La Liga titles, Supercopa de España, La Liga titles, League One, Champions League, World Cup, Copa America. Like, he's won at everything. And my question for you guys is this. Should Messi now retire from Argentina? For me, I would say it's a difficult one. I'd say in terms of World Cup, he probably should retire for his own sake because I just don't really think him in 2026 would be a great idea for Argentina. I think they have to move on, especially him being at 39 years old at that time. I just don't think Argentina should. I just don't think he'll be that great. Now, maybe you could go for one more Copa America to defend your title, kind of like your last Copa America thing, as a farewell thing, of course. But in terms of World Cup, I think Messi should just and I think Messi even said himself like this is gonna be his last World Cup, and so it's a good way to end his World Cup legacy. And now, will he do another Copa America? Because I think that 2024 Copa America, which as I said will likely be held in USA, will probably be his last Copa America. Okay, and that'll probably be his last international tournament as well. So, we'll see what happens there. And of course, Messi, man, what a tournament he's had! What a tournament he's had! All right, now we have to talk about this guy, Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe. This guy was phenomenal that day. Phenomenal, absolutely brilliant. And I think for Mbappe in particular, he's only one of few French players that actually put out his heart and soul. And you could tell how devastated he was that he scored a World Cup hat trick and still loses the World Cup final. That is actually heartbreaking. Many players haven't been cannot say that. And this might be one of the greatest individual performances I've seen in a World Cup final for some time now. You know, and what Mbappe did was incredible. And the thing about Mbappe is that he came up clutch as well. You know, and the thing is, like, this whole French team were so underwhelming on the day. Like, most of his French players were terrible. The only players who were actually decent was probably Upamecano, Hugo Lloris, obviously him as of course, and maybe to some lesser extent maybe Coman and Thuram and Colamiani. The rest of the French players were average or terrible. Even Rabiot, I didn't think was that good. I mean, he was kind of decent extra time, I suppose, but most of his game he was not good. And the thing about Kylian Mbappe is that he was terrible for most of this game. Like, if we're being honest here, he was pretty much non-existent for like the first 80 minutes or so. But once he saw that penalty, which was given away by Otamendi, he came up triumph and he scored two clutch penalties. And the thing about penalties is that we know Mbappe is not really the best at penalties. He's not even that great at penalties. We have seen him miss numerous high-profile penalties. Looking at the Euros, look at the what is called in the Champions League. Mbappe has sky penalties when it comes to important occasions, and the fact that he scored two penalties against Emi Martinez, who is a very good pen stopper, as we just saw in the penalty shootouts, is pretty phenomenal. And I just think that it shows how good Mbappe is that he was able to take those penalties and that kind of crucial amount of pressure upon him. And we got to keep in mind that there was no Antoine Griezmann, who already got subbed off. There was no Olivier Giroud, who got subbed off. Ousmane Dembele, who already got subbed off. He literally had to work with scraps, and he managed to make a hat trick and make this to one of the best World Cup finals I've seen in my life. Because if Mbappe wasn't that good, this would have been one of the most boring World Cup finals I've seen in my life. Like, if I'm being honest with you guys. Like, this would have been one of the most boring World Cup finals. And the fact that he delivered a three-piece just made this final more insane. It just made it more insane. And I just feel bad for Kylian Mbappe. The guy is 23 years old. He did everything he could to win the World Cup. And like I said, man, like, it would have been crazy. It is what it is. He did at least win the World Cup 2018, though. And it just feels as though he was just let down. And this is why I said in my video and my preview for this match is that what's going to come down to is going to be which supporting cast will come up better on the day. Would it be Messi or Mbappe? Because I had a feeling that neither of them would really be that great in today's final. And we just saw the difference is that Messi's teammates did show up, whereas Mbappe's teammates didn't really show up. Most of them didn't show up. And so I think that's a key difference. And that's why I said that would come down to is which supporting cast would come triumph on the day. And we clearly saw which team's supporting cast was better on the day. So, like I said, man, huge props to Mbappe, of course. What he did was incredible. Now, we got to discuss the match. Let's discuss this match. What a match this was. What a match this was. Because this was a match that was filled from start to finish. It was a crazy match. It was a crazy, crazy match. And this is a match that could have gone either way. So let's start with the lineups first. So Argentina rolled up with their 4-4-2. Obviously, Di Maria was the new change. Obviously, it was very interesting. And then for France, it was pretty much the same 11, except we saw Upamecano and Rabiot slot in. And it was pretty much the same 11. And you saw from the right the words go, Argentina were so much better than France. Argentina looked so much more in control and cruise control. They were able to dictate the game. France, for most of the game, were very underwhelming. They didn't create anything. And that first goal was scored by Lionel Messi for the penalty spot. It was a penalty that was given on Di Maria. Dembele takes him down the box. I do think it is a bit of a soft penalty, and some would say it shouldn't have been a penalty. I guess I can see why it was given. It's very difficult nowadays because, let's be real, a lot of penalties in this World Cup have been very soft. A lot of the penalties haven't been stonewall penalties, and you could kind of say maybe Di Maria embellished that penalty in some ways. Maybe he took advantage of the contact or whatsoever, but it is what it is. Dembele with that stupid challenge, that's why you just never make those kind of challenges inside the box because it can always be risky. And then Messi steps up and takes the penalty and makes it 1-0. And at this point, I'm like, okay, Argentina take the early lead. Can they build upon this? And yes, they sure can. Because Messi plays a really good pass for McAllister, who I thought was really good on the day. McAllister has been a really underrated player for Argentina in this World Cup. I think he was fantastic. And I think we need to see some appreciation given to him. And he's a Brighton player, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a big move in the January window just after this insane World Cup he's had for Argentina. And then he plays a beautiful through ball to Angel Di Maria. And I always said this with Di Maria, guys. He was one of the most clutchest players for Argentina in big games. Remember, he scored the winning goal for Argentina in the last Copa America in the summer to give Argentina their first Copa America since 1993, I think. I might be wrong with that date, but it's like 1993 or 1995. It's something like that. The point is, like, it's been some time now, you know. And remember, he also scored the goal in the Olympics final to give Argentina their first Olympics in the 2008. So Di Maria has always come up clutch. And people tell me that if Di Maria was fit in 2014, who knows? It could have been a whole different story. But that's for another day. Anyways, Di Maria makes it 2-0. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this game is done. This game is done. I don't see France making a comeback. One of my relatives even texted me, like, is France making a comeback? I said, I don't think so. But I did say that we will see, though. Because, you know, like I said, anything can happen. And as I said before, guys, in football, is that 2-0 lead is one of the most dangerous leads to have in football, right? Because especially when you score a goal, the momentum's on your side and you can easily score a second goal. Because that's what I've noticed is that, which we'll get into in a bit later, but momentum is very key in football, guys. Momentum is very, very key, right? And you have to give credit to Deschamps. He made two immediate changes, took up Dembele, who had a disastrous tournament. I'm sorry, Dembele was one of the worst players for France this World Cup. I'm a Barca fan, and even I'm saying this, that I don't want... Dembele is overrated as heck. He has been overrated as heck. I might get a lot of slander for saying this, but that's just my opinion. And Olivier Giroud came off, and you could see the guy wasn't clearly fit, fully fit. And off comes Muani and Kingsley Coman, who caused danger to the Argentine defense, more particularly in the second half. The second half begins, Argentina didn't really make any changes, and this is where you could see Argentina were in cruise control. They even got to the point where they brought up Di Maria for Acuna, who raised a lot of eyebrows at the time, but I think Acuna did his job, did his job. And then the goal in the 79th minute from Kylian Mbappe and Otamendi, man. Otamendi. Yeah, that was a blatant penalty. I mean, you literally took down Muani inside the box. It was a blatant penalty. And this is what I said with Otamendi, is that as good as he has been for Argentina, he is still a great defender. I still think he's a great player. He's not 100% bulletproof. And that's what I said with Otamendi, is that he needs that protection with him. And I just feel like Otamendi himself isn't very good, but when you put him with the negative center back, he's really good. It's kind of like similar to the whole, like, what is it called? Like, remember how Real Madrid fans were telling you, Ramos and Varane, Ramos always covered up for Varane, that kind of thing, and I guess maybe it's kind of like the same here in this occasion, like, Longley and PK, because let's be real, Longley was actually decent in Barca for some time, and then obviously we know what happened in that Champions League game, but, anyways, I'm going off tangent here. The point is that one defender isn't just good himself. You need another partner to be really good, and, and it was a stupid challenge. Stupid challenge. Up steps Kylian Mbappe, and this kind of pressure moment, the 80th minute of the game, he has to score this penalty, because if he doesn't score, it's difficult for France to mount something. And they scored the penalty, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, 2-1, okay, it's done, right? Holy behold, I was wrong. Kingsley Coman and Kylian Mbappe combined to make it 2-2. And at this point, I'm like, oh my god, this World Cup final has gone from one of the most boring finals I've seen in my life to one of the most craziest finals I've seen in my life. It's quickly changed in the span of a few minutes. I'm thinking to myself, what the heck are we seeing here? Kylian Mbappe has made it 2-2 and has made a brace. 83rd minute, I'm like, oh my goodness me, what a final are we having here? And then extra time commenced. Messi forced a really good save from Lloris. I think even France almost scored a third. If it wasn't for a good challenge, I believe was it Acuna made. I think it was Acuna on Kylian Mbappe. I have to rewatch this game, to be honest with you guys. And then it comes to extra time, and then Lautaro Martinez, he makes a great save from Lloris. Lloris puts it in for the parries it for the rebound, and Messi scores a rebound. And then Upamecano tries to clear it off the line, but it's too late. And Messi scores to make it 3-2. And Messi was actually barely onside for that goal. barely onside, but the smidgest of margins. And it was a great goal there, Messi. Then a few minutes later, Montiel makes a stupid handball, which I thought was a bit harsh. It hit his arm, it hit in this kind of position, I believe. I thought it was a harsh, penalty, but it is what it is. Up step Julian and Mbappe in this matter pressured moment. And he needs to score this as a set. If he doesn't, it's match set. And he scores the penalty to make it 3-3. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, this World Cup has been insane. But I did say this though, and I believe I did say this leading up to the final, is that if it does go to penalties, which I knew had a very small chance, I even said to my friends that this game might go to penalties. I have a feeling this game might go to penalties. And I did give the edge to Argentina because Emi Martinez is a really good pen shot stopper, whereas Lloris isn't really good at saving pens. So I knew France were screwed in that department, and so it would come down to their penalty takers. And oh my god, why is Chemi taking the penalty? Didier Deschamps, I recognize what you did for this World Cup was phenomenal. You made it to back-to-back World Cup finals with the depleted squad. Very, very impressive. But why on earth are you giving him a penalty? I haven't even seen him take a penalty for Real Madrid. And I don't even think his penalty record is that great. And the fact that he took a penalty was stupid. It was dumb. It was dumb. And it went wide. I can't really blame him for the Kingsley Coman one because it's fair enough, understandable because he is a good pen taker and he's of course an experienced player. But this is what you never do, man. You never give young players penalties to take and pressure situations because more often than not they're gonna miss unless you're an exceptional young player, which is Kylian Mbappe. Of course, that one makes sense, but like I said, it's just ridiculous. Then obviously Messi, scored his penalty, and Montiel scored the decisive penalty to give Argentina their first World Cup since 1986, and France have lost 2 World Cup finals and penalty shootouts, as well as the fact that Argentina won the most penalty shootouts in World Cup history is pretty phenomenal. It's pretty phenomenal, and what a thrilling match it was. What a thrilling match it was. Thrilling match it was. So, yeah, definitely, man, definitely. One thing I'll say, though, before we move on to the next topic is I think Argentina have to close games better off. And that's one of my problems with Argentina is that it feels as though they could just never have a comfortable win. Like, they always have to grind out the win against, top quality teams. And that's kind of my problem is that Argentina, I feel like, gets a bit too pragmatic, especially after scoring, a 2-0 lead. And that's kind of what we saw against the Netherlands as well. So, I think Argentina needs to build upon and make sure that, they're not as, as carefree. Because you could see in the second half they were not as energetic as they were in the first half. And so forth. So, just score that third goal and just kill off the game, man. Just kill off the game. And as I said, 2-0 lead is one of the most dangerous leads to have in football. All right. Now, the final thing we have for this video is where does this Argentina team rank compared to the previous World Cup winners? Now, I'm only going to be comparing in this video to the 21st century's one just because it is difficult to really compare from the previous editions. And so we're going to go ahead and compare right now. Okay? So let's start with the 32 team format. Actually, I think this is more fair we do this way. So we have 1998 France, 2002 Brazil, 2006 Italy, 2010 Spain, 2014 Germany, 2018 France, and of course 2022 Argentina. So we have 7 entries. Let's go case by case. Let's start with the 2018 France. For me, this 2018 is better. I think the 2018 France is better, especially in the midfield with Pogba and Kanté. And I think I think we saw today how influential Pogba and Kanté were to that France winning team because Argentina were able to bypass their midfield with ease. And if you have Pogba and Kanté there, it makes the midfield battle really interesting. So I do think that if Argentina had played the 2018 France, I do think 2018 France wins. I just think they win. And we got to keep in mind, that was a prime Umtiti. Umtiti was really good that time, guys. Umtiti was class at 2018. 2014 Germany, no, I think Argentina lose. I think Argentina lose to 2014 Germany. 2014 Germany were just built insane. That was an insane German team, one of the best German teams we've seen from top to bottom. I mean, you had Miroslav Klose, Thomas Müller. You had Toni Kroos, Neuer at the peak of his powers, like Jerome Boateng. That German team was unstoppable. Spain 2010. That Spain 2010 team was good. It was pretty good. Obviously, had a lot of possession-based players. Xavi, Iniesta, David Villa. Iker Casillas. Yeah, I think Argentina team lose. 2006. 2006 is interesting because that was an Italy team that was defensively very solid. I have to think this through. You had Buffon there. That's a tough one. I think 2006 is a tough one. I might give the edge to Argentina just because they have the mentality. But yeah, I'm not sure about that one. That's a close one. And the 2002 Brazil, oh yeah, that Brazil team was stacked. I mean, you got R9 there. I mean, crazily enough, yeah. I mean, I think I don't see them getting past 2002. And then 1998, Zinedine Zidane, and then obviously Didier Deschamps there. You know, 1998. I would give the edge to that France 98 team. So I think for Argentina, if we're going to compare it to the previous World Cup winners, it is probably a weak team compared to World Cup winners. But then again, if we're being honest here, this World Cup team is still good. Like, this is a great winning team, and you could see the mentality these players have. And while they may not be great on paper, they have that added mentality, which I think is really, really incredible to see with this Argentina team, is that they have that fortitude and that mentality that I haven't seen with this Argentina team for some time now. And you have to give credit to Scaloni. Scaloni's done a great job with this Argentina national team to put where they are right now in international football. And you have to give credit to Emi Martinez. The amount of saves he made in this World Cup is phenomenal. He made a save right at the very end, just before penalties. And who knows, if Mwani scored that, it would have been over, and France would have done back-to-back. It would have been so heartbreaking. And those saves he made for those penalties. And you have to give shout out to Di Maria, who's also came up clutch. Rodrigo de Paul, who is a workhorse player, phenomenal in the midfield. He may not have the technical abilities compared to, the likes of, Bruno Guimaraes and these kind of players, but he just has a work rate, Di Maria as well. And then obviously you have to give credit to Julian Alvarez, who came up clutch in the semifinal, and then of course around of 16. And obviously Messi. Like, this Argentina team is phenomenal. Like, the way that they've been playing as a unit has been phenomenal. And you have to give credit to this Argentine team. They have been phenomenal. Phenomenal as a unit, and they have been incredible. So that's pretty much it, man. It's a really long video. I haven't really made this kind of long video for some time now, so I really hope you did enjoy. Of course, if you're new out here, considering that like button, hit the subscribe button down below as well. And let me know if there's any talking points on this Argentine team, because I'm sure there probably is. And that's the beauty of the comment section. You guys can help me out in the chat. The comment section below. And it really does give me a good insight of what I missed, because I'm sure there's a lot of talking points I can make in this video and all the good stuff. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Remember, guys, if you're new on here, considering that, consider checking the platforms in the description below. And remember, guys, tomorrow there will be a big stream tomorrow, discussing about the World Cup recap and itself. So I hope I can see you guys then. And thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.